if specifically, if you had a boy, would you be comfortable with your young boy being in the bathroom with Donald Trump?
Like in a public restroom.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Like I wouldn't think anything of it. It's just another man walking
So
in the
so
restroom.
so
Welcome back, everyone. And if you are new here, you picked the perfect video to start with. So what you are about to watch is a street interviewer sitting down with a 23-year-old blue-collar worker who voted for a candidate he openly admits he cannot fully defend. And what starts as a pretty straightforward conversation about wages and tax policy takes a turn that honestly nobody saw coming. This guy came in confident, and by the end of this clip, he is saying three words that you almost never hear in a political debate. You got me. Trust me when I say you want to stay until the very last second of this one. The way this conversation builds and then lands is something else entirely. Before we get into it, drop a comment and let me know where in the world you are watching from. I genuinely love seeing where this community is coming from, so say hello down there. Alright, let's get into it.
why do you support Donald Trump?
Uh, Honestly, for pretty selfish reasons. To get the elephant out of the room. I don't have a way to justify his thing. I got a daughter. I think it's personally disgusting. Um, but I got more money this year being a blue collar worker than ever. Like I'm only 23, but I've been in the workforce since I was 18. Since I graduated, like started working
Well,
immediately.
well, here's my question. What did Trump do to make your conditions better off?
The no tax on overtime was a lot better for me personally. Uh, and the gas and spending like money on eggs and stuff that helped out a lot. Per Just for me though. I'm pretty sure I got more child tax credits this year than I had before, but
So Kamala Harris wanted to expand the child tax credit to an even greater extent, so you would have gotten more out of that child tax credit than you're getting currently from the deduction in terms of the overtime taxes, which, by the way, Harris would have kept and retained because she wants to keep all the tax cuts applicable to income earners under $400,000 a year. Plus, I can send you an analysis that indicates that Trump's tariffs have caused a $1,500 increase in the cost for the average American, right? So you actually paid more in specifically tariff costs and in specifically imposed taxes by the Trump administration than what you would have seen under the Trump administration or under the Biden Harris administration or the Harris administration getting into office in 2026 or 2025. So I don't know why you would specifically say that Trump's a preferable candidate when practically every measurable quality of the economy is worse off. We saw lower real GDP growth in 2025 compared to 2024. We saw lower real median wage growth in 2025 as compared to 2024. We saw higher unemployment. We saw the worst year of job growth in the past 4 years. We saw inflation stay up as compared to what it would have been under a Harris administration because of the fact that tariffs were imposed by the Trump administration. We saw real domestic manufacturing investment decline, right, every single quarter of Trump's administration after seeing a massive boom under the Biden Harris administration. Practically every aspect of the economy is worse off since Trump got in office. So why do you think that he's better for the economy when all good indicators in the economy indicate the complete opposite story?
uh, so honestly, like I said, it was pretty selfish of me. Like I personally saw more money, so like I supported him. Like
You wouldn't
I'm
though.
just gonna be, I'm
You
just gonna
wouldn't
be
though.
honest.
Not only did you pay more in tariffs, but you would have retained all of the same taxes and you would have gotten an even greater tax cut under the Harris administration because you said you were getting the child tax credit, which she wanted to expand to $6,000 for the first year of a child's life, $3,600 through them being 5 years old, and $3,000 through them being 18, as compared to $2,200 right now under the Trump administration.
I thought that she wanted to keep the tax on overtime and tips and all that,
She does.
so she could make that 6,000.
No,
And
both. She wanted to keep the no tax on tips deduction, no tax on overtime deduction, and increase the child tax credit, and also provide a $25,000 tax credit for first-time homebuyers for new homes, and a $50,000 tax deductible for small businesses in the first year of them starting out.
okay, so maybe I'm just not You know what I mean?
Here is what gets me every single time with this type of conversation. This guy comes in completely honest. He literally said he supported this candidate for, and I quote, "The Trump voter said this. I saw I got more money this year being a blue-collar worker than ever." And you know what? I actually respect that honesty. Most people won't even admit their reasons are selfish. He just came straight out and said it. But here is where the entire foundation of his argument starts cracking. Because the interviewer brought receipts, not opinions, not feelings, numbers. He pointed out that the tariffs alone, and this is the interviewer saying this directly, Trump's tariffs have caused a $1,500 increase in the cost for the average American. That is not a small number for a 23-year-old blue-collar worker. That is rent money. That is grocery money. That is real money leaving your pocket every single year. And you have to understand something that most people completely overlook when they talk about economic policy. When a tariff gets placed on imported goods, it is not the foreign country paying that cost. It is you at the checkout counter. This is basic economics that has been documented and studied for over a century. The cost gets passed directly to the consumer every single time. So when this voter said he felt financially better off, mind what he was actually describing was one hand giving while the other hand was quietly taking more. And the interviewer made this crystal clear when he said the domestic manufacturing investment decline, right? Every single quarter. GDP down, wage growth down, job growth, the worst in 4 years. Then comes the moment that honestly stopped me. The voter said this. I thought that she wanted to keep the tax on overtime and tips and all that. And the interviewer had to actually explain to him that no, she wanted to keep those cuts and expand the child tax credit on top of it. This man voted against his own financial interest because he simply did not have the correct information. And that is the part that blows my mind every time.
But I thought our energy prices would rise too.
They did.
And
Outside of gas, energy prices have gone up in this country.
me personally, my energy bill has been like $25, $30 lower than it normally has been.
I don't know why that would be. Energy prices have gone up everywhere around the country, so I don't know how that's true.
I don't know if I'm being like more conservative, you know, on accident, but
It could be that, or it could just be like maybe something happened in your area, right? Because literally around the entirety of the United States, we've actually seen significantly higher electricity prices.
Oh, okay. Well, like I said, I'm not stuck in my ways or anything.
Yeah, and if
So-
you want to look this up just to see like the best data on the matter, go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics because they have surveys across the entirety of the US that overlook the exact price changes. So that's the best place to look at the data. And I have seen electricity prices go up because I've looked at the reports.
Yes, sir. And like the biggest thing for me was my daughter was born right before the election, and call me brainwashed or whatever, but I wanted to keep bathrooms like biologically how they were supposed to be, just like on your.
So then why did you
sex.
vote for a man that bragged about walking into the changing rooms of women while they're changing without their consent?
Like I said, I got zero excuse. I was under the impression that he would keep the, like what affected me personally is that me and my daughter would be going into girls' restrooms with her mom. You know what I'm saying? And not having men in there, that's what I cared about. And I was under the impression that he would not have that.
Has that ever
Or
happened
he-
in your life?
My daughter's only a year old, so I just wanted to
No,
keep
but like
that
has it
at
ever
bay
happened
for
in your
us.
life that you've seen specifically a trans woman do that? And you were like, "Oh, I don't want that to happen." Do you even have a
No.
single experience of that happening?
No, I'm
So,
just,
so you
like
wanted,
I
you
said, it was
supported a guy
selfish.
that actively did this himself because you wanted to prevent something from happening that you've simply never experienced yourself after judging things based upon your own experiences.
I didn't judge it on my own experience per se, because I don't have an experience to judge it on.
Have you ever
I
met a
was
trans
using-
person?
Yes.
You have? Did you think that they were
Yes,
like a
sir.
threat?
No.
Okay.
But
So
that could have been pride. Like, what determined, like, is being a threat subjective?
No, there's evidentiary basis to say that trans people are disproportionately less likely to commit these types of violence. That's just a factual thing, okay? So if trans people are less likely to do this, why do you think that trans people are a huge threat rather than the person in the position of the presidency when he's actively someone who's done this himself? It's always undocumented immigrants and trans people when they are proportionally less likely to commit violence. Like, why don't we focus on the people in the Epstein files that Donald Trump is literally protecting, or the people he pardoned who were police officers on January 6th and were convicted of doing so?
Yeah,
right? Like, those people we know committed violence, but like there's like possible violence that could be committed, even though there's evidence to indicate they committed at lower rates. So then you vote for a guy that has committed this violence in order to be able to reduce the violence? You think that the convicted criminal who has done this himself is going to be the one to reduce this from happening?
This is the part of the conversation where things shift completely, because up until now we were talking about money, numbers, policy, but then the voter pivots and says something that reveals what was really driving his decision the whole time. He said he wanted to keep bathrooms like biologically how they were supposed to be, and I want to be fair here. He is a new father. He has a daughter. That protective instinct is real, and I understand it. But then the interviewer asked the question that nobody could dodge. He said, "Why did you vote for a man that bragged about walking into the changing rooms of women while they're changing without their consent?" And the voter's response? He said, "I got zero excuse." Those are his words, not mine, not the interviewer's. The man literally said out loud that he has zero excuse. Now here is what makes this so fascinating from a psychological standpoint. The voter built his entire bathroom safety argument around a threat he had never personally experienced. The interviewer asked him directly, "Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever seen a trans person and thought they were a threat?" And the voter said simply, "No." Think about what that means for a second. He organized a significant part of his vote around protecting his daughter from a situation he had never witnessed once in his entire life. And history actually shows us this pattern is not new. Throughout the 1960s in America, the same fear-based arguments were made about desegregating public restrooms, that integration would lead to danger. Those fears also turned out to be based on zero documented personal experience. The pattern of manufacturing fear around bathrooms and public spaces to drive political decisions is something that goes back decades. And then the interviewer lands something that is genuinely hard to argue against. He pointed out that trans people are statistically less likely to commit these types of offenses. That is not an opinion. That is documented data. So the question becomes, why are we focused on the group that statistically poses less risk, while ignoring the people we know have caused harm? The interviewer asked exactly that, when if the convicted criminal who has done this himself is going to be the one to reduce this from happening. That question just sits there, unanswered.
I mean, hasn't he? Like,
No.
Like, can't people not go into the bathroom still?
So what has he done with bathrooms?
I don't know.
Maybe that's pretty important to know if that's the reason why you voted for him. Would you be comfortable with Trump Would you be comfortable with Trump in the bathroom with your daughter?
No, I wouldn't be comfortable with you in the restroom with my daughter.
Okay, can I ask you a question though?
Yeah.
If specifically, if you had a boy, would you be comfortable with your young boy being in the bathroom with Donald Trump?
Like in a public restroom?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't think anything of it. It's just another man walking in the restroom.
So by the way, if you knew that someone in that certain restroom has been held civilly liable for a woman, you would have no concerns about your young boy going into the bathroom.
Did you mean like Donald Trump personally?
You don't have concerns about your child being around literally liable violence. You don't have a concern about them being around your children.
Can you clarify?
Go ahead.
Can you help me clarify so I can re-clarify? Did you mean Donald Trump personally or Donald Trump as a man in the men's restroom? Yeah, like, because I was talking about transgenders in the restroom, and then you asked me if Donald Trump in the restroom.
I'm
And then I was
confused.
okay, sorry. Uh, when you asked about if I felt comfortable with my son being in the restroom with Donald Trump,
Yeah.
I interpreted that as you asking me just like Donald Trump as a man, not the person Donald Trump and who he is. You understand what I'm saying? Like the chat saying you meant Trump himself. So like I wouldn't want my son to go into the restroom with Donald Trump himself. But a man, whatever. It's public. Men going to the restroom with men.
Okay. So
I wouldn't want a lady
if
to
you
go into
wouldn't
the
let your
restroom with
kid
my
into a
son.
bathroom with Donald Trump, why would you let him be president? Right? Like we're just talking about a public bathroom. If you would be concerned that your kid was in a public bathroom with them, why would you trust that person to be president? Because again, if you wouldn't trust them in a position of power, such as a teacher, such as a babysitter, such as in typical normal circumstances, such as being in a public restroom, then why would you trust them being president of the United States?
You got me there, amigo.
Oh, this is where everything collapses in the most spectacular way possible, because the interviewer sets up what I can only describe as the most perfectly constructed logical trap I have seen in a street interview in a long time, and the voter walked straight into it without even realizing it was happening. The interviewer asked, "Would you be comfortable with your son in a public bathroom with Donald personally?" And the voter said, and this is the key moment, "I wouldn't think anything of it. It's just another man walking around." He meant it as a totally innocent answer. Just a regular guy in a regular bathroom. Nothing to worry about. But then the interviewer slowly revealed exactly what he was building toward. He reminded the voter that this is not just any random man. This is someone who has been held civilly liable for assault against a woman, and the voter's entire face changed. You could feel the realization happening in real time. Because suddenly he said it himself. "I wouldn't want my son to go into the restroom with Donald Trump himself." And that is when the interviewer delivered the line that ended the whole conversation. He said, "If you wouldn't let your kid into a bathroom with Donald Trump, why would you let him be president?" There is no counter to that. You cannot argue against your own words. And the voter had just spent the entire conversation explaining that his number one social concern was bathroom safety for his children. And then, in the same conversation, he admitted he would not trust this same person in that exact situation. The voter's final response was simply, "You got me there, amigo," and honestly, that moment of intellectual honesty deserves more credit than people give it. It is genuinely rare for someone to sit in front of an audience. I realize their position has a fundamental contradiction, and just admit it out loud. That takes something. Most people double down. He didn't. This entire conversation is a reminder that the most powerful debates are not won by shouting. They are won by asking the right questions and letting people arrive at their own conclusions. So what do you guys think of this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.